A Black woman who moved from the U.S. to Russia to escape discrimination and racism revealed on social media that the entire plan backfired on her in a disturbing way. In a heartbreaking video, Francine claims that both she and her baby were brutally attacked by racist neighbors in Moscow. She detailed the alleged assault on Instagram.
America is the problem, right? It's America. It's America. Her story reveals a painful truth. America isn't perfect, but it offers more legal recourse, protection, and societal accountability than most countries on earth. Welcome to the John Amanchukwu Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a big favor, my friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And never forget that there is no rhythm like the algo rhythm. In this episode, we would talk about a young lady by the name of Francine Villa, all right? Or Villa, Villa, however you say it. I'll say Villa. I think that's right. But she was living in the U.S. and because of racism, she moves to Russia, thinking that living in Russia would be the best option, only for her to move to Russia and then get beat up by some racist neighbors. Yeah, this is not a fairy tale. This is not drama. This is a real story. Take a look at this.
A Black woman who moved from the U.S. to Russia to escape discrimination and racism revealed on social media that the entire plan backfired on her in a disturbing way. Francine Villa was born in Russia but moved to the U.S. with her family when she was a kid. In a heartbreaking video, Francine claims that both she and her baby were brutally attacked by racist neighbors in Moscow. She detailed the alleged assault on Instagram.
All right, hold it right there. Now that's amazing. Now I'll be the first to tell you that I don't condone this. I don't support this kind of behavior. I don't think that anyone should be attacked. To see that this couple attacked her is awful. It's disgusting. You know, it's something that should not take place. I repeat, this is something that should not take place, but I hope that there's a Russian BLM or some type of organization or some type of support that this woman can find. Now, if she was in the U.S., Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, probably LeBron James, and all of the big voices could support her and help her in this fight. But since she left the U.S. and went over there to Russia, now she's reaping the ire of Russian policies and Russian standards and Russian governments and what they do and what they deem acceptable. Now, I don't know all of the details of what took place. I don't know what caused this situation to happen. I don't think that since she's been there for 5 years, all of a sudden, after being there for 5 years, you get into an altercation and you get beaten into a pulp. I think there's more details to this. What happened is the question that I have. Now, I'm still trying to gain information on that and doing my research, but I want to know what happened. What spurred this on? Who threw the first punch? I want to know that. Was it them or was it her? What was said? What words were used? What caused this? Now, that's missing from this story. But what isn't missing is that this young lady has a habit of addressing and pointing out racism. Now, let me tell you about racism. Racism is real, okay? Racism is real. The Bible says that all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And that sin right there of racism that we can point out that is real in society. And she found out that it's not only real in the U.S., but it's also real in Russia, a place where she thought would be a safe haven for her. Racism is real, but racism is not a skin tone or a color. Racism is sin. Russians can be racist. Americans can be racist. Blacks can be racist. Whites can be racist. Asians, Hispanics, Pacific Islanders, Indians, the Chinese, Asians, they can be racist. It's true. But something's missing. It's almost like a cake that's been baked and you eat the cake and it's like, this looks good, but something's missing. I think that there's more details to this story that might be left out for two people to jump on a woman, not too far from where she lives at, and attack her and her child. There's got to be more to the story. However, I do hope that justice is brought, that if these perpetrators truly were racist and did something to harm this lady, we don't know to the extent of where things went. We don't know if the physical attack was solely from the woman, or if the physical attack was solely from the man, or just both of them. Okay. But this isn't good, and this isn't wholesome. And it's something that needs to be pointed out. I want to go to bat for this lady. I want to defend her honor. I want to stand up for her. I want to rally people to give her justice, but it's kind of hard to do because she's not in the US. She's in Russia. And I don't know how Russian culture feels about situations like this. What I do know is that if she was in the United States of America, people would be up in arms. They would be marching in the streets. Things there'd be some furniture being rearranged because, in America, this isn't good. We protest because of this. All right. And I think that protesting is good, but you should do it peacefully. But this needs to be called out and pointed out. And I don't want to gloss over the fact that this woman was physically harmed, but I do want to gain more information on what took place and to find out those critical details. Watch.
Now, the fact that the attack occurred in her homeland is an extra painful blow. Villa had previously spoken about her move in the 2020 documentary Back in the USSR, which aired on the Russian state media channel RT. Villa said that her great-grandfather, George Tynes, who hails from Virginia, worked as an agriculturalist after moving to the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Now, much of her family still lives there, but at a young age, she moved with her mother to the United States. It was there that she spent most of her life until experiencing what she described as a traumatizing experience with police. Villa explained in the documentary that she'd approached officers for help during an emergency, but that they turned on her instead, throwing her to the ground. It was then that she decided it was time to leave. That was back in 2019. Here is how she explained.
All right, hold it there. Now, I've seen cops throw people to the ground, but it's typically when you attempt to resist arrest. That's when they throw you to the ground. Now, I need to unpack that as well and get more information, okay? Was she thrown to the ground from the onset? Did they just walk up to her, boom, bam? Now, if they did that, they need to lose their badge. They need to be fired. But if you resist arrest, at a certain point, if you challenge the authority is going to remind you that they are the authority. And so you might get thrown to the ground, okay? But something is, a little bit iffy with the story. All right, watch.
My mind to move to Russia, I wanted to leave a country where I was facing discrimination. After a year living in Moscow, she told RT, quote, "I feel free living in Russia because in Russia, no matter what time it is, I can walk outside and I'm safe." 5 years later, that proved to be a fantasy. Following the alleged attack, Villa took to Instagram with blood still on her face, saying a couple in her apartment building beat her with fists while she was with her 2-year-old and yelled racial slurs at her in Russian. In edited footage shared by Villa of the incident, the couple can be seen arguing with her in the hallway of her building, threatening to throw out her belongings while she was seemingly blocked from entering her own apartment.
Вы в России давно живете?
У вас прописка есть здесь? Дай мне войти в мою квартиру.
Почему вы ко мне на «ты»?
Я не могу выйти и входить в свою квартиру. Напугает моего ребенка.
Кого? Он пуганный плачет, бедняжка, зайка. Ты плачешь, да? Плачешь, зайка.
Now, she accuses her neighbors of changing the locks, cutting off the electricity, and even tossing her baby's stroller down the stairs. She also claims her child was left with bruises following the
incident. All right, hold it right there. What that sounds like to me is that this young lady, Francine Villa, was staying at this apartment. I mean, are y'all hearing the same thing? Okay, you can roll that back just a little bit. We can take a look at the words. I can't understand Russian. I don't speak Russian. I'm still trying to become proficient in English. But um, it seems like she was staying in an apartment that they possibly owned. And it said that they changed the locks and they changed the keys, and they said that they're going to throw her stuff out. So it sounds like, if I have to speculate, it sounds like someone came up short on the rent. Y'all let me know in the comments. Tell me in the comment section, am I right or am I wrong? Am I weak or am I strong? Let me know. Let me know what you think there. I want to know. Does it sound like someone came up short on the rent and maybe they weren't paying their fair share? And this Russian couple who potentially owned that apartment, unit, decided to kick her out. Is that what you're hearing? And then somewhere along the way, trying to kick her out of the apartment and the likes, a scuffle broke out. A fight broke out. Some words were said. Somebody possibly said, hey, you got until May 31st to pay the balance or we're going to kick you out. It's June 3rd and the person's still staying there and they haven't received their money. You get to the house, prepare to kick them out, and they say, I ain't leaving. Y'all follow me here. Follow me. Follow me. And then then the person says back, Francine, potentially, well, I'm not leaving, and you can't make me leave. What you gonna do about it? I'll pay you money when I can. And then the Russians say, well, this ain't America. We're gonna show you what we're gonna do. We're gonna put our hands on you and get you out of this apartment. I mean, it's a bad mess. It's a bad mess. If she was in America, let me be honest with you. She should be in America right now. If this would have happened in America, it would be a different story. Now, you don't have the right to just take your hands and put it on somebody and grab them and throw them out of an apartment and slap that baby upside the head. You don't want to do that, okay? That is disorderly. That is violence. All right, that's violence. Don't do that. But that's when you call the cops. That's when you call the cops. She should have possibly called the Russian police. All right, and told them to, hey, I got a situation here. They're trying to get physical. Can you come help me out? But when she ran into the police in the U.S., it wasn't a good situation. So maybe she didn't want to call the police in Russia because that may not be a good situation. It sounds like she might be a little bit problematic. Okay, that's in there a little bit, but it seems like there's a scuffle that took place as a result of someone not paying their rent. That's what I'm hearing. Let me know what you think below in the comment section. Take a look at this.
On the stairs, she also claims her child was left with bruises following the incident. In footage taken from a hospital, Villa can be seen weeping in distress in the aftermath of this alleged attack. She says she's filed complaints to the police, but claims they aren't helping or responding.
Okay. All right. So I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, what's taking place here. She filed complaints to the police, and the police have not come alongside her to support her and to help her. Could it be that her reputation has not only hurt her in this situation, but it's put her in a situation where police don't even want to engage with her because the same thing happened in the U.S. Now she's coming to Russia. I don't know. But let me say this, the deep irony and painful consequences of fleeing the U.S. for perceived safety in other countries, especially white majority or European nations, and discovering the myth of global racial utopia is crazy, right? See, many Black Americans are told that white majority countries outside the U.S. are more tolerant, more progressive, and safer. Francine Villa fled America due to perceived discrimination and moved to Russia, claiming she felt free there. 5 years later, she's brutally attacked while holding her toddler, punched, locked out, power cut, and her baby stroller thrown down the stairs. All right. It's like I said earlier, it sounds as if she didn't pay the rent and they removed her from the property. But here's the narrative collapse. America is the problem, right? It's America. It's America. Her story reveals a painful truth. America isn't perfect, but it offers more legal recourse, protection, and societal accountability than most countries on earth. The idea that anywhere but America is better for minorities is a progressive myth. It's a lie, one that puts real lives in danger. If this was in the US, if this took place with her in the US, oh yeah, it would be a big story. But since it's in Russia, no, they're going to do what they want to do. The standard of law and order and how things are perceived and judged, you know, in Western civilization in America, things are quite different. But she's over in Russia now, so she's getting the Russian way of life. Villa once claimed she was safe walking at night in Russia. The fantasy has now literally left her bruised and bloody. Now, I know of plenty of Black women who walk the street at night and who go places and things of that nature. I've never heard them say that they didn't feel safe at night in the U.S. I mean, I even know people who are in New York and Brooklyn, in California and Oakland and many cities. I mean, and yeah, these are some tough cities, to say the least, but they at least feel safe walking the streets. America has laws, rights, and recourse, but evidently Russia doesn't. In the US, even imperfectly, you have civil rights protections, independent media and legal aid, police accountability mechanisms, and the ability to sue and be heard in court. In Russia, state media gaslights, police ignore you, and neighbors terrorize with impunity. She thought she was in the US, but found out that she was truly in Russia. So where's the outrage from the woke left? Where is the outrage? If this happened in the US, it would be headline news and spark nationwide protests. But since it happened abroad in a country she once praised because she despised America, the silence is deafening. The left only cares about racism when they can use it to condemn America, not when it disproves their worldview. See, conservatives understand the deeper truth. Real safety isn't found in geography. It's found in governance and values. The U.S. system, built on constitutional rights and due process, offers more protection from racism, not less. Conservatives support law and order, due process for all, merit-based justice, and individual accountability regardless of race. We don't promise utopia, a perfect world. We promise the tools to fight injustice and the freedom to do so openly. Francine Villa learned the hard way. Fleeing America for a kinder white majority nation doesn't make you safer. It makes you vulnerable. In America, we don't deny racism exists. I said it in the beginning, I'll say it again, because racism does exist, but we give you the tools to fight it. I pray that Francine and her daughter receives justice, but I also pray that she makes it back to the United States where she has the power to mete out that justice with constitutional rights and with the legal system of the United States of America. Let me know what you think below, my friends, in the comments section. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I weak or am I strong? God bless you, my friends, and God bless America.